Hey everybody, it is Monday. Welcome, welcome, Monday. Today we are actually out on the lake because I thought it would be really interesting to do some discussion and exploration on ecosystems. And a lake ecosystem, a freshwater lake ecosystem, has some amazing things to see. I'm going to flip it around back and forth as I'm trying to navigate with one hand. Welcome as you're showing up. You can see right here on the shoreline, right there, you see a couple of mallard ducks. There's a mom, actually a male and two females. They've been very active, doing lots and lots of nest building. We have three different species of ducks that hang out on our lake. We've got the mallards, we have some Muskogee ducks, and we also have some Muskogee ducks and some beautiful painted looking wood ducks. Wood ducks are gorgeous. They're very small. But you can see right here, see the three little mallards. I actually think I see a very young one. Yeah, there's a baby there. I don't know if you can see the little one walking with the mom towards the front. You guys see that? Anyway, it's really fun. And then I wanted to show you, we're going to talk about what this ecosystem is like. Ecosystems are places where lots of different organisms live together and they help each other survive. For example, we're right now in some grasses. You can see the grasses that we're in amongst some lily pads. These are very important to shorelines because they provide homes for juvenile animals such as young ducks, younger turtles. We have lots of turtles in our lake and lots of small juvenile fish. And so this gives them a place to stay when they're younger. There's lots of food for them here, and they can stay hidden from the bigger animals that might come to feed on them until they get big enough. So we've got, like I said, a nice little group of mallards here. Looks like there's one little baby. We have animals that will feed on young ducks, and so ducklings have to have a tough life. They can get eaten by some of the larger turtles we have here. We've got soft-shell turtles, we've got some snapping turtles, we have some big mouth bass that, believe it or not, will eat young ducklings. And then we have some raptors. We've got eagles, and we have osprey, and we also have a bunch of hawks that will hang out around here too. Now, and so those are some of the predators. See if I can move out of you can see I'm in the lily pads right now, so I'm going to move out, trying to navigate. You can see where we're going here. I'm going to navigate further along the shore and try to do that as I'm navigating with you guys and not dropping my phone. I do have it tethered, so we're safe. But this is an amazing ecosystem. Now, this particular lake is partially built on, and there's very important restrictions as to what you can build on a lake because we need to preserve the shoreline for our wildlife. The wildlife are very important to keeping our water healthy. The plants actually help to filter out any bad contaminants that can get in the water. This is a spring-fed lake, and so it's actually starts out pretty clear, but we can get runoff if there's too many houses and too many people using fertilizers on their lawns. The fertilizers can get washed into the lake, causing algae to bloom. Algae are a very important part of the lake too. And so I'm going to kind of slowly give you a view around our lake. It's about half built upon, and it doesn't have a public ramp, but it does have a lot of preserves on most of the perimeter of the lake. And so these preserves are important so that we can ensure that we've got a good shore life that protect the deeper animals as well as our water supply. You know, we have to have a very a safe water supply, and we have to make sure we've got to use nature to help us to live well. And so it's a very careful balance. I think that we need to look at the ecosystems as important for us and also for the survival and health of our earth, not to the detriment of humans. We can still enjoy it. We can be there. We can go fishing. We can take advantage of some of the beauty that's out here. But we also have to make sure that we preserve it and we don't overfish or we don't overpollute. And so when boats on a lake can pollute if they've got motorized motors, and so we don't want to have too much boating on the lake. Even extremely fast boating can cause disruptions with the waves that they produce, and they can erode the shoreline. And so we're moving this direction. I see a beautiful white heron up ahead. I don't know if you guys can see it that far ahead. we have some beautiful herons that like to hang out on the shorelines and dabble around for small critters that are hanging out in the shore, under the water, under the mud even. We have large carp that produce carp nests. They actually will hang out near the shore as well, and they will build just a depression in the sand and lay their eggs down there. And the carp are beautiful here. They're kind of a bluish color, and they can get pretty large, several pounds. I'm going to see if I can get us closer to that white heron. And we're also going to see some lily pads. I wanted to talk about the lily pads too. Lily pads are really kind of neat, and they produce beautiful flowers. Right now they're flowering, and I'm going to crash. I don't want to crash into these things. Let me turn you guys forward here. You can kind of see what's going on. I need both hands here. All right, so we don't want to crash. I hope you guys can see this, and it's not too crowded or too, I've got you on a little shelf here, a pocket. Anyway, the flowers that the lily pads produce are white, and so you can kind of see them here. Let's see if I can move you closer. Are we still on? We're on. Okay, good. And so they actually open in the day and they close at night. And it's an interesting phenomenon that plants can actually produce a movement of some sort. They actually do it. When we talked about plants weeks ago, how plants use cells that have vacuoles filled with water. And those vacuoles, they fill them up, and if they're more full of water, it's a very stiff cell, and if it's less full of water, it gets kind of wimpy, and that's how plants wilt if they don't get enough water. Well, there's little cells at the base of these flowers, and when they need to, oh, I hope you don't get dizzy, when they need to open up, those cells will release the water and get flattened. And when they need to close, those cells fill up with water, and that causes, they'll get at the base of the petals, and that causes the petals to close up. So let me flip you around again. You can see that beautiful white heron over there. They at one point were over hunted for their beautiful feathers. Aren't they gorgeous? Oh, he's caught a fish. You can see his neck's all swollen right now. He's swallowing a fish. And so they have gorgeous feathers, and they were over hunted years ago because women like to have those feathers in their hats. And so after creating some laws where we couldn't do that anymore, their populations thankfully are much, much better today. There's a lot of wind going on right now, so we're going to have to wrap it up because otherwise I'm going to get blown in to shore. I don't want to do that. But thank you guys for joining me. If this turned out okay, let me know. I'll do some more. There's lots more things we can talk about. We have otters on our lake. We've got gators. Actually, we don't have gators in our lake right now. You can't ever say there's never gators, but we've never seen a gator on our particular lake. But anyway, there's things we can talk about these ecosystems and how they're super important, and the plant life, the animal life, the physical features, the water, the rain, the water that comes off, called runoff from roads that are surrounding this area, all affect this ecosystem and all affect the health of the area where we're living. And it's the same thing wherever you live. Go outside today and take a look at your ecosystem. Everyone is in an ecosystem, whether it's a citywide ecosystem or a country ecosystem, and look at the different kinds of plants, the animals, from the insects to the flowers to the trees, and try to see ways that they are connected. One of the things I think is a great activity to do is to make a food chain. A food chain is starting with some of the smallest organisms, and then what eats those, and then coming up with another organism and what eats that, and it's a chain. And life is actually more complicated than a chain, but it's a simple way to look at that. So if you started with, say, grass, for example, in the forest, a deer might feed on the grass, and then what would feed on the deer? Maybe a wolf would feed on the deer. Not much feeds on a wolf, so that's kind of the top of your food chain. So it's a 3-chain food chain. And so anyway, try that. Before we leave, there's some kind of bird in the grass up ahead. We're going to take a look at that real quick, and then I'll have to say goodbye before I get blown into shore. All right, I'm going to see if we can go here. I'm going to turn you this way. If you guys can see, are you still on? Are you upside down? I don't think you are. I'm going to come close. Can you see him? There he is. That was a very disturbing, we disturbed that blue heron. That's not a great blue heron, it's a blue heron. Beautiful bird. He wasn't too happy about that though. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for joining me. We will talk to you guys another time.